back everyone to another fun game of old school Magic the Gathering, and this is a video I've been very excited for, match number 3 of the white-blue Taxman deck versus DeadGuy Ale. If you want to see the other matches in this rivalry, they're in the description below. Taxman won one match, DeadGuy Ale won the other one, and I was very fortunate to get to play match number 3, we'll call it the Super Bowl of these two decks, in person, and this time I'm playing the Taxman deck. I actually built it after playing those webcam games because I thought it was so interesting to play against, and it's really fun, and these decks are really equal to each other, and so only one deck can walk away the champion and be crowned. If you want to skip right to the game, the timestamp is in the description below, but first let's quickly do the deck techs for these two decks. So here we have the DeadGuy Ale deck, probably my favorite old school deck. Super versatile, and you're really gonna have lots of options on almost every turn, whether it's creature threats or enchantments or land destruction. So there's lots of different kind of tweaks and variants of this you can run. Here I like to run 3 Hymn to Toraks and 3 Sinkholes. Hymn to Torak, of course, is a great land removal to get the opponent to discard lands, and Sinkhole to disrupt someone early, maybe take them off blue mana, or take out like a Library Alexandria or something that they're playing with. Obviously the big creature threat here is going to be Jism Jin, a 5/5 creature for only 4 mana, so using a Black Lotus or a Dark Ritual to get this guy out early, you can just steamroll opponents, and he's stronger than most creatures in the format. Hypnotic Spectre, of course, another really good card for disruption, a 2/2 flyer that makes your opponent discard every time it makes contact. And then you see things like, your tomes for card draw, a couple Pump Knights. I throw a Serra Angel in there as another flyer for fun. And again, yeah, you could switch out different creatures or switch out kind of your threats here. Maybe put some Animate Deads in and something like that to make the deck kind of tailored towards your playstyle. If you weren't playing in the Paladins format, of course, a Mind Twist is a no-brainer, as is a Library Alexandria, works really well in this deck. So it's really fun. You win a lot of matches with it, or at least you're competitive in a lot of matches, and yeah, it's definitely one of the best in the format. And here we have the Taxman deck. So this one really revolve around 2 key cards. That's Serendib Jin. It's a 5/6 flyer from Arabian Nights that you have to sacrifice a land during your upkeep, and if that land is an island, it deals 3 damage to you. Now, to get around that downside is a land tax, which allows you to search your library for basic land cards and put them in your hand. So you could see the combination here. You're searching for your plains or one of the mountains and then feeding them to the Jinn, so hopefully you can win, because a 5/6 flyer is quite strong in the format. You see some other blue and white staples, such as Moat, an enchantment that only allows flying creatures to attack. Obviously that plays very well with Serendib Jin, with the Serendib Ifrit. The version of this deck in this video has been modified, so the Ivory Towers have been removed. I believe the player is playing with Psyblast to try to be even more aggressive, putting even more pressure on, attack early with the Jin, hit you with the Psyblast and end the game. And then of course you see some counter spells and some of your other, Time Walks, Ancestral Recalls, the Chaos Orbs, and so forth. So I think this deck, I've seen it perform. It's really, really fun to play with, especially if you get an early land tax. You're kind of setting yourself up for success, and yeah, it's an awesome, awesome deck. All right, and jump right into the match here. Really love both of these playmats. The Ice Manipulator one being a real standout. Just the artwork on that is iconic, and it looks even better on the playmat. And here is, so Taxman on the left, kind of coming out quick. Getting 3 different colors online right away is very beneficial. We'll see if there's anything. And there's a turn 1 Time Twister. So this does a couple things. One is that kind of your opponent at this point, I mean, only has one land out. They're going to have to draw 7 cards. They could get 7 bad cards, like, or just not great cards. There's no way to mulligan with the turn 1 Time Twister. So if you're able to get quick mana out like Taxman did here, this is very, very, very good spot, potentially. But the Time Twister, it gives and it takes. It could give you a hot 7 or not so hot. So you see in DeadGuy Ale's hand there, I do see an Ancestral Recall, but I don't see any blue mana. Swamp, Sinkhole's always good. Swords, he's got the scrub land for the swords. And draws an Underworld Dreams, so TBA on that Ancestral Recall, and these would probably be a Sinkhole here, yeah. Get rid of that blue. So let's see if Taxman's going to get... Oh, there's a Factory and... Okay, an Ivory Tower and a Land Tax. I mean, those are just two monster turns there, coming out quick. I mean, DeadGuy Ale, though, is a very resilient... Probably the most resilient deck in the format, but that's a tough one. Okay, so Land Tax. During your upkeep, if your opponent has more lands than you, you can search your library and remove 3 basics. So at this point... The DeadGuy Ale does have 2, so on the turn passing the turn here, Land Tax will be activated. There's a 3rd land, probably for Underworld Dreams. Yeah. Now, little confusing. I remember when I was years ago playing Land Tax, this is not card draw. You are searching and putting into your hand, and they do not count as card draw, so the Underworld Dreams is not, you're not going to take damage from it on the Land Tax. Okay, I'm getting the blue mana back. Doesn't have the double blue though open for counterspell. It's getting an early and then a Time Walk. At a bare minimum, Time Walk is 2 mana for a card draw, which is quite good. Now, gaining 3 life there from the Ivory Tower, really you can choose to Land Tax first, then gain the life based on your hand size. So Ivory Tower and Land Tax work really well together. I think there's opportunities to use Land Tax, Ivory Tower in other decks. I really only use them in this Taxman deck, but I really love how they work together. And now we've got Counterspell online. Just gonna keep coming in with the Factory. And there is the Serendib Efreet, 3/4 flyer, does 1 damage to the controller during upkeep, but that doesn't really become an issue unless you're really low on life and you have Ivory Tower online, so you're gaining life, so the Serendib Efreet has no downside here, really. And there is... So we must have top decked the Mox, the blue Mox. It's a huge top deck for DeadGuy Ale, so you never can count DeadGuy Ale out of the match. And he's just going to go right away in Swords. Now you could argue there, do you pass turn, let the Efreet ping them for 1, and then Swords them, but then you're playing someone who might have, they have 2 blues, they'll have Counterspell open during the upkeep phase, so maybe you just do it there. And then here comes another Underworld Dreams. You gotta love a turn there where DeadGuy Ale utilizing every single mana available to do something. Getting the most out of your turn. And there was a Land Tax, was done, and then a card draw. Take 2 damage from 2 Underworlds. And the Library of Alexandria coming out. Don't know how many cards are in hand, but it's still quite a bit, I think, from the Time Twister. And of course, this has a great synergy with Land Tax. So you could pretty much with Land Tax, you could always just take your 3 lands, then your card draw, get right back up to 7 or 8, and get Library Alexandria back online. So a lot of good combinations here. Another Serendib Efreet, another attack. Starting to feel a little worried, a little pressure if I'm DeadGuy Ale here. Like, gonna need some big plays coming up. trying to think, what would you want here? Maybe it disenchants. I mean, DeadGuy Ale does run balance. Okay. And another swords. That's 2 Afrits in a row that have been exiled and replaced on the board with the Jism Jin. Big 5/5 attacker. I'm going to start coming in. Start doing some damage because the Ivory Towers just gained a lot of life for Taxman. I mean, you kind of win on Ivory Tower here. Up to 28 life right now. So those 2 underworlds really aren't really going to be a big issue. I think that looked like a, yep, Chaos Orb. Do you flip the Chaos Orb? Oh, I mean, on the Underworld Dreams, the Jism Jin, I mean, when you have this much life, you kind of have to be a little more lax. It's not really urgency. Okay, and there's the swords. He's going to gain life back to 19. Yeah, he's just going to put out another one. And there's going to be a counter spell. I think Taxman is just saying, no, I just want to win this game. I don't want you to do anything here. But in order to win, yeah, you gotta do it 2 at a time. I want to see that big Jin come out, probably. Serendip Jin. Nothing. Passing turn. Okay, not Expector. 2/2 flyer. Get a discard every time. Kind of maybe get the person. Well, yeah, because the land tax isn't really active right now, and there's a library. So, person at 7 in hand, now they're at 8. Maybe use Hypnotic Spectre to get the Library of Alexandria offline. Okay, there he is. The Taxman himself making appearance. Serendip Jin. I mean, just a 5/6 flyer in this format is just so powerful, and does have a pretty significant downside. You gotta sacrifice a land during upkeep if it's an island. That does 3 damage to the controller. Now, this deck is built around, you know, the gaining life through Ivory Tower, so the 3 life doesn't matter too much, or using land tax to get your non-island cards. The player does have a lot of islands out right now. I mean, you could sacrifice Library of Alexandria or a factory, but here they are disenchanting a Chaos Orb, or, well, taking it back. I think here, because in response to a disenchant, the other player can activate Chaos Orb and then flip it. So I think he actually didn't want that to happen. And I think actually the better move is to go for Ivory Tower, because he's just not going to be able to win with the life gain that's going on. So I think that's better than the Chaos Orb anyway. And of course the Hypnotic Spectre is not going to be able to attack through the Serendip Jin. So DeadGuy Ale, though, staying in the game. And there's a Psy Blast. On the end step, which is going to open up DeadGuy Ale for a big attack here. Take 2 damage on the card draw. Okay, oh, has to sacrifice. It does sacrifice an island to Serendip Jin, taking 3 more damage. So now that 22, this is 22 to 17. I mean, the game. Okay, and here comes the plains, which will be fed to the Jin next turn. Potentially forgetting to attack with the factory, maybe, but coming for 5 in the air. And putting out a moat. Alright, so non-flying creatures cannot attack. Putting out another Serendipity. That's a questionable play. You're gonna have to sack 2 islands during upkeep. and take a lot of, take some damage potentially. We'll see. But any Jusum Jins that come out, Pump Knights from DeadGuy Ale are not going to be able to attack now with the moat. I'm trying to think what I think there's really just a Hypnotic Spectress, maybe. I mean, he has Disenchant, so does he grab a Disenchant for moat? Does he grab or something for balance here? Maybe a balance. And he Demonic Tutors for a Time Twister. Okay, I'm curious what people think of this move. Now, first of all, with 2 Underworld Dreams out, that's 14 damage. Down to 8 life for the Taxman. I mean, DeadGuy Ale just... I guess you hope here now if he draws... He could maybe the idea was, look, I'll Time Twister, do 14 damage. I'll grab a balance on the 7 and balance out the two Jins. I mean, possible. That's like a play to win move, I think, doing a Time Twister there. I really like that. I don't remember if he played a land card. He did not. Okay, so he could Disenchant here. He could balance here if he has it. Mana balance would be just a monster move. Okay, we're gonna get a swords. Okay, that buys him. That reduces, because otherwise you would have hit with 10 damage that turn, so that does buy him additional turns. Well, we got Sen, don't forget, sacrificing the plains, like we said. So Disenchant on the Underworld Dreams. Mountain comes out. Now here, actually the factory can't attack because of the moat. Neither player catching that, unfortunately. I think in the moment when you're playing, you just get so in the zone of like, I gotta do this and do this and do this and do this, and you just forget. The moat was cast. Okay, so both the Underworlds have been taken care of. Down to 6 life. So again, if there's an illegal factory attack next turn, DeadGuy Ale will die. But I think he's kind of in a real pickle anyway. See some land cards in his hand. Probably want a Sinkhole. Yeah, he's gonna Sinkhole the mountain. So forcing the Taxman to make a maybe more difficult decision on the sacrifice. Okay, sacrificing the... Oh, and going to swords the Jin and getting it countered. I already forgot if he could have swords last turn. He had the open mana for it, and there's another illegal attack, but no, neither player's gonna see it, and he's gonna. Oh, I mean, 2 counter spell didn't even matter. 2 counter spells, and Taxman taking game 1. This is it. I mean, yeah. So, the thing I really grown to respect and like this version of the blue-white deck. I mean, if you get the land tax and Ivory Tower online, it's just brutal. It's really brutal. Turn 1, opening turn, Ancestral Recall. Little dangerous, because if you don't draw a Mox or something, you're gonna have to discard. Gonna guess there's gonna be. Yes, it's tough. I don't like the opening turn recall, because then you're just discarding an Underground Sea for no reason. That's a tough one. Oh, and here comes the powerful Flying Men. The 1/1 from Arabian Nights. I mean, 1 blue for a 1/1 flyer. That's actually great value in old school. Okay, we're gonna pass turn there. DeadGuy Ale. No, so at that point, what this tells you, right? You've got 2 black open, so there's no Sinkhole, there's no Pump Knight, there's no Hymn to Torok. Right? You can kind of eliminate. Oh, and there's a Strip Mine. You can kind of say, okay, so you're playing this deck. He definitely has Underworld Dreams in his hand. He's probably got Jusum Jins in his hand. You know, he's got... Oh, another Sinkhole for Sinkhole. And then he's going to Swords of Flying Men. don't know if I would do that. But, and then a Lotus into a Serendipity. Okay. Underground Sea coming back out. We'll see if he has another. What does he got? Okay. Soaring. He must have just got that. And another Swords. Oh, and Taxman passing with one open plane. I mean, using the Lotus for the Serendipity, definitely trying to catch the DeadGuy Ale deck off guard. Didn't work. Potentially gonna get punished for that. Keeping maybe a very greedy opening. And here comes for 5. Okay, well, Ivory Tower coming out, going to potentially buy some time here. Not enough though when you're doing 1 on Underworld and 5 from the Djinn every turn. Let's see if DeadGuy Ale can put this one away. He's kind of definitely has an advantage. There's definitely mana issues happening. In another, I think that's 2 games in a row with 2 Underworld Dreams. That's 7 damage a turn. Yeah, and this is the only weakness to land tax, and when you're playing in this format is, you know, people have Moxes, Soul Rings. He doesn't need to play another land. Wisely getting rid of that Ivory Tower, which kind of, I honestly cost, the game 1 was, the win was from Ivory Tower. Oh my goodness. And that's going to be it, because that's going to be 14 damage with 12 life. That's just a steamroll. Amazing how you can win 1 game in that same deck. But again, you know, in old school, I mean, the wonky mana starts, or you kind of slow with your mana base, you're just gonna lose. So I guess it's fitting that, you know, this is match 3, game 3. This is it. This is the end of the battle between the Taxman and the DeadGuy Ale deck. Opening turn, Ivory Tower, you like it. It's pretty good. Not as good as opening turn. Land tax. Time walking just to gain, again, two mana to do a card draw. I think the player here forgetting to do Ivory Tower, actually gaining life, should be gaining life from that. Okay, Ivory Tower, Time Walk, Chaos Orb, Black Lotus. This is old school, fully old school, this match. Okay, well, we get one of the many 2-drops in the deck. Okay, disenchanting a Black Lotus. I don't like that move, and then responding, actually having an instance and responding. I probably would have disenchanted the Ivory Tower there, and here comes the powerful Flying Men. Okay, Pump Knight, 2-1. He has 2 black there. He could make it a 3-1. Give it first strike. I personally really like... Again, I just don't like using swords on a 1-1 flyer. I guess. Oh, and there's an Ancestral Recall. Draw 3. But yeah, I've just grown to really like the Pump Knight. The first strike, being able to, if you have 3 black, give it a 3-1 with first strike can really do some damage. Okay, the Underworld Dreams, kind of the card of the night here. And then now it's starting to look like game 1 here, with the Serendipity freed out, the land tax, the Ivory Tower out. I think I see a Chaos Orb in his hand there. DeadGuy Ale, a little bit of a hole here. Okay, dueling Chaos Orbs. So you can activate. Now, of course, if one player activates their orb, and I believe this is the ruling, the other player can respond by activating their orb and flipping it on the other orb that's been activated. I believe that is what's being discussed and what could happen. It's kind of like a Wild West showdown of the orbs. Okay, Taxman showing counterspell. Has the mana here to play the big Djinn. Okay, and there's a card we haven't seen yet. Control Magic. 4 mana, gain control of target creature until enchantment is discarded or the game ends. So just taking the Pump Knight and I guess just... Oh, and there's a Hymn to Torok, and there's just a mountain. That was it. So at this point, I mean, Taxman's got nothing. He's just going to top deck and just keep attacking. Down to 10 life, 10 to 9. He goes to 5, so he goes to 4 life. Psy Blast ends the game. I think he's got to activate his orb, and then in response, the Taxman's going to activate their orb. It might come down to an orb flip. Okay. Okay, he's putting the big creature out. Now, next turn, the Ifrit does 3, goes to 1, past turn, he loses. He's got to flip the orb. And then Taxman's going to respond with their orb, and that's going to be the match, pretty much. That's what's going to determine the game. Yup. Okay. Orb on orb violence. If this hits, that's over. And that's it. Taxman's going to take it. Oh. Unbelievable. These decks, they just feel so balanced against each other. And they just go down to the wire. It's like a slugfest. Probably the most fun I've had with Old School has been these two decks. This will be the end of this saga, at least on this YouTube channel. But if anyone else has thoughts on DeadGuy Ale, on Taxman, maybe ways you would improve these decks or things you would like to see done differently, leave a comment below. Really appreciate people having some fun and playing and watching Old School, and Taxman's the champion. Thank you, everyone.